Holtec said last June that trucking the water away instead of discharging it would cost the company about $22 million. Holtec spokesman Patrick O'Brien says release of radioactive water is nothing new.
Every day, these type of things are happening with municipal wastewater treatment systems, hospitals are discharging into those.
He says the company will not promise to avoid discharging the water into Cape Cod Bay. For CAI, I'm Jeanette Barnes.
And there will be no discharge prior to the resolution of the permit issue?
I can't say that.
Hello? What are these people, nuts?
Tonight, activists on the South Shore are even angrier over the latest message from the company, which is decommissioning the Pilgrim nuclear power plant. Holtec wants to dump radioactive wastewater into Cape Cod Bay. Courtney, the company's made a concession, but it comes with a catch.
Paula, a representative for Holtec, says it is now working with the EPA to amend its permits so that it can dump the wastewater. The nuclear plant has been shut down since 2019, but more than 1 million gallons of radioactive wastewater remains in pools inside. Now, Noyes said tests taken 7 years ago show the radioactivity is well below federal limits. He also says Holtec has actually dumped in the bay in the past without any issues. So we will stay on top of this and let you know if there's any new information.
Can you believe this stuff that's going on? I felt obligated to make a video today because my buddy Tim, who you guys have seen on some episodes of Next Drift, he sent a link to this this situation and this article in a group text to myself, Joey, John, Joe, and when we all opened it up, none of us could believe what was going on, and I really couldn't believe that I didn't hear about this sooner. I want to preface this entire video by saying this, because I think it needs to be said, number one, and number two, I already know that we're probably going to get some people in the comments that post up, stuff. The reality is this situation like this has nothing to do with politics or the Save the Whales, Hug a Tree, although it probably has to do with Save the Whales a little bit. But it has nothing to do with being a tree hugger or a bunny hugger or anything like that. So what I'm hoping to do here is accomplish something that I think is going to, I think the situation could impact a lot of us. And I think, by putting this out there and getting the right attention by the right people and getting some of you to do something about it, I think we could actually have an impact on this and get a desired outcome. So this article, this whole situation, which you saw in the intro to this video, I made it a little bit eccentric, a little dramatic, but the reality is it is a serious situation here. So the link that Tim had sent us was from On the Water, onthewater.com. There are some other links to the same articles with the same situation, but basically this has to do with a company called Holtec Holtec International, that acquired the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station in Plymouth, Massachusetts back in 2019. And the article reads, company plans to dump radioactive wastewater into Cape Cod Bay. Now, some of you may say, well, I don't live anywhere near Cape Cod Bay. Who gives a shit? Well, the reality is that you should care. Dumping radioactive wastewater into anywhere is bad. There's currents. This stuff is going to move. It's going to affect fishing. It's going to affect swimming. It's going to affect just all of those things, that activities that everybody likes to do. And, this can spread. It can spread out to Nantucket Shoals. It can spread towards Martha's Vineyard, Block Island, eventually out to Montauk. God knows where it's gonna reach. It's gonna pollute fish. It's gonna pollute everything. It's radioactive. So the reality is, this is going to affect everybody. One thing I do want to say, people need to realize right off the bat, you can't have anything both ways. Okay, let's and again, I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that, but for argument's sake, we're going to touch on it a little bit. I don't care which way you vote. I don't care if you're a liberal. I don't care if you're a conservative. I don't care if you're an independent, libertarian, whatever it matters. It doesn't matter. This particular situation affects everybody, number one. But number two, a lot of the people who are into this green energy, Green New Deal, electric cars, don't like fossil fuels, fine. No problem. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But what I will say is there's nothing that is worth having that doesn't have some sort of cost associated with it. Okay? If you like your diesel truck, if you like your gas-powered 1960 Chevelle, there's pollution, there's emissions. If you like electric cars because they're nice for the environment and they don't release carbon into the atmosphere, well, that's great too. But the reality is that comes with a cost. And if you want electricity and you want the electricity on a scale that you're going to need it to power all these electric things, you're going to need nuclear power plants. And when you have nuclear power plants, you're going to have nuclear waste. Nasty, radioactive nuclear waste. All right? That's just first and foremost. So the reality is that what I want to see, which I would expect to see, is this is in Massachusetts, people like Elizabeth Warren. Don't just go and make a statement. Bring it to Congress, bring it to the attention of one of the committees, and make some action. Make something happen, because this pouring radioactive wastewater into the ocean is not a good idea. Well, let's talk about some of the things here, okay? First, let's talk about the topic itself. Reading the article here, Holtec plans to discharge the water into Cape Cod Bay, but the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, has warned Holtec that unauthorized discharges into the bay would be a violation of the Clean Water Act. Okay, now what is this radioactive water? For those of you that don't know how a nuclear power plant works, is that there's a reactor, that's where all the energy is produced, and in order to keep that reactor cool so it doesn't explode and basically be a nuclear bomb, water is pumped in from the ocean, or if the power plant's near a river, it's pumped in directly from the river. The water is used to cool down the reactor, keep the reactor cool. Well, part of keeping that reactor cool is that water becomes radioactive. And we all know what something being radioactive can do to human beings and other types of life, okay? So that's what happens. So there is all of this wastewater that's been left over, right around 1.1 million gallons of radioactive wastewater that's been sitting at this Pilgrim nuclear power plant, okay? So they need to figure out what to do with it, basically, all right? They had a meeting here, a bunch of the townsfolk, people around that area. It said Holtec initially indicated that they might dump water illegally and be willing to absorb the cost of any fees. But as of January 23rd, of the January 23rd meeting of the Nuclear Decommissioning Citizens Advisory Panel, a representative of Holtec International said that the company is still pursuing changing a discharge permit that would allow it to legally discharge the radioactive wastewater into Cape Cod Bay, and will not discharge spent fuel pool water until that permit modification process is completed. Well, so basically what they're trying to do is they're saying that they need to get rid of this water, and basically they have four options, okay? The first option is to truck it away to other facilities for disposal. Well, there's costs associated with that. You got to pump it out. It's got to go into special trucks. The trucks have got to drive wherever they're going to go to put this shitty water, pollute somewhere else, but put this stuff to where it's not going to contaminate the environment as badly. Well, that's a lot of money. The second is to evaporate and allow the water to evaporate and discharge through the plant's air handling system. All right, well, that takes a long time for all this water to evaporate. They've got to perform maintenance, maybe add additional parts and components to their air handling system. Again, too long, it costs a lot of money. The other alternative was long-term storage on the site. Well, that's going to require them to build holding tanks that are secure. They have to be protected because you have, radioactive water. And to the cost associated with building an infrastructure to house these things is huge. The fourth option is to dump the water straight into the ocean, straight in. All right, your kids can go swim in the radioactive water. You can go fish in the radioactive water, but that's what they're going to do. Their fourth option is to dump it into the water. Well, it's the easiest and it's the least expensive. Why? Because the fines for dumping radioactive water into the ocean are less than the first three options we talked about. So this comes down to time and money, just like everything else. All right. So those are the options that they have. Trucking 1.1 million gallons of toxic water away would cost Holtec valuable time and resources. Evaporating the water would require their continued involvement with the site, forcing them to allocate more money, time, and resources to a project they want to be finished with. Long-term storage on the site is the most expensive alternative, as it could require tens of years spent sitting in its current location before the water is free of toxicity. Because the company wants to move on from this project and do something else and take the profit, because it always comes down to money, all right? The unspent grant money, unfortunately, dumping it in the bay, in their eyes, is the best option. It's the best option for them. Screw everyone else, screw the fish, screw the environment. We want our money. We want our profits, and we want to get the hell out of here and go do something else to make more money. That's what it boils down to. Now, I'm a capitalist. I'm all for it, but you gotta do it the right way. And this isn't the right way, okay? What would this nuclear wastewater do to our local fisheries? It's not known, right here, it's not known exactly what the effect this wastewater would have on the waters surrounding Cape Cod. Enough said right there. If we don't know what the effect's going to be, hello, we're just going to just dump it into the water and see what happens? So everybody gets cancer or the fish die, we kill turtles and whales and everything else, and nobody can eat a freaking clam or an oyster out of the freaking Cape Cod Bay? Hello? Plymouth was the site of stellar trophy striped bass fishing in 2022 due to massive schools of adult and juvenile menhaden, bunker. Okay? And talked about how, the bait fish brought stripers, sharks, humpback whales within several hundred yards of the shore. People got to see them, the sightseers, the people driving up, paying, getting a motel room or a hotel room for a few nights to go and take pictures of whales or go fishing, and they go to restaurants. It affects the economy. So again, we break it right down to, it comes back to money again. And these folks at Holtec, they want their profits. They want to finish the project. Dump the wastewater into the bay, and screw the other guys. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't like that. Okay. It says Senator Ed Markey and Senator Elizabeth Warren, alongside with Representatives Keating, Moulton, and Sear, have stated that they are working in opposition to Holtec's plans to discharge radioactive wastewater. You can contact your local legislators and let them know your concerns about the possible discharges of radioactive wastewater into Cape Cod Bay. Let me tell you this: if these people need to be told by us, common folk, the effects of dumping radioactive wastewater into Cape Cod Bay, then none of them should be in office. Okay? Now, I certainly don't side with anything Elizabeth Warren says, but I will say this. I really hope she makes more than just a statement. She needs to do something. All these people do. They need to get it in front of the news. They need to get it in front of Congress. They need to make a big deal about this and stop this company from dumping the radioactive wastewater into the fucking ocean. Okay? Period. And you know what? And if it's the most cost-effective thing, solution to dealing with this issue is to dump it in the water because the fines are lower than any other cost they could have, raise the fines. It makes me nauseous. Anyway, I wanted to point this out. I'm not going to monetize this video. I want you to do your research, share this video, talk about it with your friends. Get this information out. Let me just show you this real quick. It says EPA warns Holtec against a radioactive water discharge into Cape Cod Bay. I mean, this article here is from 2022, from last year. It says the federal EPA, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, has issued an advisory to Holtec International cautioning the company against discharge of radioactive water from the Pilgrim Nuclear Power Station to Cape Cod Bay. And they're still saying, well, you know what? We're going to do it anyway. Give us the fine. This kind of stuff is just bad. I mean, if you like to fish, if you like to go swimming, if you like to just clean water, this isn't a bunny hugger solution. It's not a tree hugger issue. This isn't about that. Get past all that. This has to do with this is poison. This is bad stuff. And you know what? The comment that we heard earlier in the video that, people do this all the time, that doesn't make it right either. We need some young folks. Go to school, get a degree in science, some sort of biology, some sort of science degree, and figure out how to deal with this freaking nuclear wastewater crap. You'll make a lot of money. And if we're going to continue to use nuclear power as a way to produce energy, then we need to figure out how to deal with the byproducts, the disgusting byproducts of this, because you can't tell me this is any cleaner than the diesel smoke that the guy has across the street driving his pickup truck. All right? Share this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care which button you hit. I don't even care if you hit the dislike button. Hit a button. Send this to your friends. We need to do something about this. Elizabeth Warren, I don't agree with you on anything, but you got to get this one done. This is on you. You have the biggest voice. You're the biggest big mouth. With everything else, be a big mouth. Use it. Get this done. Don't let them pour this crap into our ocean. See you next time. Adios, amigos.
I see this as a problem, a science problem, a problem we've got to fix, but also a moral problem. We cannot be a people who destroy the earth before our children have a chance to live their lives and our grandchildren have a chance to live their lives. So I'm in all the way.